stuff or any of that. So we're going to go ahead and start the YouTube highlight from right here. I'll have this uploaded to YouTube when we're done. So for any of you guys, what the show's going to be about is more the PTR boss walkthroughs. We're going to be going over the fourth, fifth, and sixth boss. I think we're actually going to be skipping the one boss that wasn't tested, the Razor Scale boss or whatever. So if you guys know anyone that wants to learn about the bosses that wasn't able to test them on the PTR, or just you want to have like some of your guild members get in here and either ask questions or get to know get up to speed on the bosses, would be a good time to do that. So we're gonna go ahead and get this started. It said the first boss we're gonna be going over is gonna be Shaw of Pride. This is actually a boss they tested on Heroic recently, and we're not gonna really get into. You can go over some of the Heroic stuff, but I'm trying to focus on the normal mode stuff. But if you guys have questions that are able to be answered about the Heroic encounter, like what changes on Heroic, I mean, we can go over that stuff. But yeah, so with that said, we're gonna get this started. I'll link you guys the vid for Shaw of Pride, and then there we go. This is Shaw of Pride normal, and this is gonna be the one that we're starting with. So you guys can follow along if you want with the video. So let's go ahead and go to full screen for you guys. Let me move my. Okay, there we go. I gotta move my thing so you don't see me twice in the same. There, the way it looks similar. Less annoying than having me on my webcam here and then seeing me on the video when it's playing. Okay, so one other thing real quick. Let me get on to PTR. That way we can go over some of the Dungeon Journal stuff as well for you guys, and we don't miss any of the abilities. But just a quick overview of how Shaw Pride works. As you notice, the graphic of the boss is very similar to Shaw Fear in Terrace of the Endless Spring, so it's another Shaw fight. It doesn't have a unique model or anything, but it's a fight that just bounces back and forth between dealing with ads, dealing with certain mechanics around the room, and things like that, as well as the you got to break people out of prisons and things like that. So we're gonna be going over those the Dungeon Journal going here as soon as we get online. Just while this is loading, just out of curiosity, how many people in this stream have you guys tested? How many of you guys have tested, any of these bosses, Siege of Orgrimmar in particular? Some of the ones we're going to be talking about today with Shaw of Pride, Iron Juggernaut, and uh, Korkron Dark Shaman. Those are going to be our main focus for today. You did Shaw, it did not seem that bad. Yeah. Okay. Just gonna pop this open real quick. Just skim through the Dungeon Journal. Basically, the way the fight. Another thing about it is it has a pride mechanic that uh, whenever you're getting hit by parts of the fight or elements of the fight that you are supposed to avoid, or if you're not doing something correctly, you're getting pride, and you have a pride meter, and it's kind of like Cho'Gall in the sense that if you get to if you get all the way up to 100, you become MC'd. So just think of it like Cho'Gall. Whenever you turn into one of those little, I don't know what do you call them, little aberrations on Cho'Gall in Bastion of Twilight. But yeah, so basically you want to make sure you're avoiding abilities that give you pride. You manage your pride as well. I mean, there's an innate amount that comes naturally throughout the encounter. And then once you reach, I think it's 30%, he clears all the pride, and we'll get to that. But just so you guys know, your pride meter is a very important element of the encounter that you guys have to understand. Like how it happens, what it gives to you, and things like that. Gift of the Titans, that's a DPS buff that the DPS need to be aware of. What happens with that is whenever it goes out, they have to stack up together. Um, and then it gives a DPS a buff. It's called Power of the Titans. Uh, increases haste and all damage and healing done by 15%. So, when that goes out, I'd recommend having a weak aura for people in your guild that, if whenever they get the Gift of the Titans, you just have a spot, as you'll see in our vid. You can check those out. I'm sure some of you have watched it. The Gift of the Titans goes out, they stack in a location, people get the buff, then you disperse and go about your way doing the fight. Okay, Swelling Pride. This is something that Shah does throughout the encounter, and basically it's like a AOE damage, buff that goes out every so often. And if you need to, you can use like Devos and things like that. But the important part about Swelling Pride is depending on your pride, it changes what the Swelling Pride does to you. So if you're between 0 and 24, it's not doing anything. You're just taking the damage from Swelling Pride, and you are, I think it actually, let's see, yeah, it gives everyone 5 pride when that happens, okay? So you're going to be getting 5 pride from the Swelling Pride regardless, all right? And the way the fight's tuned is, by the, once you're approaching that 30% mark, people are going to be getting higher and higher amounts of pride. And there's other, like, we'll get to the other things, so I don't want to get off track here. So we're just going to go over one of these. Remember, between 0 and 24 pride, nothing happens. You just take the damage from Swelling Pride, okay? If you're between 25 and 49, it does Bursting Pride, which basically puts a little void zone thing on the ground. You'll be able to see those in the vid. And what happens with that? You make sure you move out of it. Okay. If you're between 50 and 74, it creates a projection on the ground, which is a bigger void zone, and it will have a green arrow in it. Okay. And the one thing to be really aware of about that ability is it can spawn anywhere around your character, so you don't want to be just looking behind you, or it's not always going to be right next to you. It can be anywhere in like a pretty decent radius around your character, okay? You got to be very aware of that and find that green arrow and stand inside of it, or the entire raid is going to take 225,000 shadow damage. So you'll be able to see that in the video as well. Then Aura of Pride. Once people are, between 75 and 99 when that Swelling Pride goes out, you're basically going to start like emitting like a mind sear off of you. It's going to be like everybody within 5 yards of you takes 250,000 damage a second. So if you get affected by Aura of Pride, you want to make sure that you're standing away from the raid altogether, because you're just going to end up nuking everyone to death. Okay, and then once you're at 100, once Swelling Pride happens, you basically go into this super juice mode. But since your players hit with Swelling Pride while overcome or permanently mind controlled. So, once you're at 100 and then you get hit with it, you basically become mind controlled for the rest of the fight. All right. So that's how the Swelling Pride is a very key mechanic to the encounter. So it's important that you guys understand how that acts depending on your pride level. All right, and that's found in the Dungeon Journal if you guys want to go back and look at that. Okay, Mark of Arrogance. This is something the healers deal with. To be honest, I can't get fully in detail with that. I just know it's something that you guys have to dispel, and it's also, you have to deal with the repercussions of pride going out and things like that. So that's, if you're a healer, probably I would definitely recommend getting a weak or something. Make sure you have that able to be. You need to be able to see people's debuffs or whatnot on your grid. As far as that is pretty basic, but yeah. Wounded Pride, that's the tank debuff. It's pretty straightforward for tanks. Once a tank gets that, the other tank taunts, because if you don't, they're going to be getting 5 pride for every melee that they take after they get the debuff. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to just skim over these and make sure I am telling you guys the right thing. Okay. And just to preface all this shit here, we have had very limited time with these on beta or PTR or whatever. Okay, so I don't know everything it is to know about these fights. I'm just giving you guys a basic rundown of the encounters based off what we've seen and, tested thus far, which is usually about an hour, around an hour per boss. So there's going to be more to the fight than what I'm saying here, but this is like a very solid baseline for, you guys going into it or your guild going into it or things like that, okay? Um, Manifestation of Pride. This is the ad that spawns. You'll be able to see this in the video. It spawns in the over in the corner. You can grip it, stun it, all that shit. Interrupt its blast. If it goes off, it gives whoever it hits 5 pride. And you notice the theme here. If you get hit by avoidable damage or you do something incorrect, you're going to be taking extra pride, which is, not a good thing. Um, let's see here. Oh, last word. Here's another mechanic to the fight. The closest two people to the ad when it dies get 5 pride. So, let's say you have someone that's, let's say you have somebody that's, you don't want to push them into that next threshold. Or here's the best example. Let's say that you have somebody at 71 energy or whatever, or 71 pride. You don't want to push them over the 75 threshold, so when they start AoEing people, so you want to make sure they're not close to it when it's dying. Just things like that, all right? Self-reflection. This is an ability that the boss casts, and it's kind of like Water Spout on Shaw of Fear. You want to kind of move around, and it creates the puddles underneath you and things like that. Um, and spawns little ads. We group up together and just AoE those down once all those are spawned. Any player damaged by the explosion gains 5 pride. That's why you move around like Water Spout on Shaw of Fear. Corrupted Prison. This is, it's got a little wall of text here, but just straightforward. It's somebody gets selected, they get put in a prison, and then people have to stand on specific tiles on the ground to break them out of the prison and things like that. Reaching attack. It's what happens if no one's in tank range. And then Unleashed is when the boss reaches 30% health, he resets everyone's pride, and then he starts emitting raid damage, and you basically have to kill the boss before he kills you. So that's the fight in a nutshell as far as the dungeon journal. Now we're going to tab back over here and get going with the video and just kind of, walk you guys through how it looks like in motion. So you can see here these things on the ground. If you see my mouse cursor, these are the prisons that are around the room. And there's 3 little tiles. And on Tin Man, what we got to test, it requires 2 people standing on these tiles. And on Tin Man, it's static locations for the prisons. I don't know how that's going to work out on 25 Man or if all 4 will be active on 25 Man or whatever. So you're going to see here we're going to pull. And the boss alternates between... actually, before we pull here, you can see here. We have the prisons marked. You see the star marker here in the back corner. The square marker here, and then the diamond marker over there. The diamond marker is where the ad spawns every time on Tin Man. I don't know if it's going to spawn in, random locations on 25 or whatever. And real quick, for people that are interested about the heroic way that the fight works, you have little puddles around the room that you have to click and keep up with. You can find that out in the dungeon journal. And then there's also like a little Pac-Man stage. You get ported into another realm, and you've got to eat orbs and shit. So it's a pretty cool fight overall. I like it. It's got a lot of I guess not a lot of target swapping, but it's not just one boss or things. You gotta deal with elements like getting the ads to spawn. The pride meter is pretty cool. It rewards people for playing well, and it punishes people who don't play well. You've got the ads, you've got the prisons, unlocking the prisons. That's pretty cool. But anyways, we're going to get going here. So on the pull here, again, you can see the room, the 2 prisons we have marked, and the ad spawns location we have marked. As you see here, we start out, it's on Absalom. So right now, I'm just kind of like, chilling out, watching what's going on. And again, these are by far, and these are not pulls that things are min-max. You guys are getting to see like raw footage of us learning the encounters and things like that. So focus a lot less on like what damage people are doing, and just focus a lot more on the mechanics, because that's, to be honest, that's when you guys are doing things like testing and things like that on PTR, or even just learning a boss whenever it comes out on live. You don't need to be worried about doing tons of damage. You need to be a lot more focused on executing the fight properly, learning the mechanics, and getting information that will allow you to get better at the fight faster. Because if you're just focusing on one thing and one thing only, that is, which is just your damage right off the bat, you're going to be putting yourself, at a disadvantage overall. So you see all the ads are spawning. They get grouped up here. You see Bright Leaf's opener, it's pretty insane, Ellie-wise. Okay, so here's the, one sec, we're going to back this up. Let's see if you guys can see that debuff go out. Okay, they have the Gift of the Titans debuff or whatever. They're going to run together, and then they get a buff. Okay, you just saw it transition on the raid frames. Now they have a damage amplification, but I don't think Brightleaf actually made it over there. Let's see if he... Actually... Yeah, I don't think Brightleaf got it, unless that's a debuff of another type. I can't tell. But anyways, okay. So here the prisons go. They spawn, they put people in the prison. We just did the ads. Now he does the imprison and things like that. And you see here I have my Transcendence set up. I just kind of pop right over there and break the guy out of the prison. Me and Absalom there. We instantly break the guy out of the prison. And then after that happens, you're going to have an ad spawning. You see, I go over here and get the ad. You can grip it, stun it, charge it, any of that shit. So we have the ad here. Make sure to get all the interrupts. There's another one. And actually, Swelling Pride just went out as well. So when this ad is out, remember, Swelling Pride, it changes what it's doing based off of your current Pride level. So just to test people and make sure you guys are listening, all right. Can you guys tell me what happens when you're between 0 and 24 Pride? Like, what happens when the Swelling Pride hits you? I want to see if any of you guys are paying attention in chat. Or if any of you guys are paying super attention, just kind of go over what each one of them, what happens. Okay, what happens when you're between 25 and 49, and what happens when you're between 50 and 74 and things like that. So, I mean, if you guys remember those, it's very key to the encounter, okay? But yeah, I see you guys are getting it right. Nothing happens, you just get 5 Pride, alright? So, you see that happening there, and then the fight at the beginning is, you're just kind of rotating between, those abilities. So, and it gets a lot more hectic later on because, every time that Reflection goes out, as you see here, it goes out again, the ads are just going to keep getting more and more and more. Actually, I'm going to tab back over here. I'm going to read this Reflection thing again because, okay, so I think the way that it works, and don't quote me on this, I think that it like spawns 1 if you're at 25. It spawns 2 if you're at 50, and it spawns 3 on you if you're at 75. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Don't quote me on that though. Either way it goes, just know that there's more ads the later the fight goes on. So I'm not 100% on how that works out, but I think that's how it goes. You see here they come out. We get them together, AOE them down, what have you. And again, on Heroic, you're going to have the little puddles all around the room that you're having to close and shit like that, and people are going to be getting sent into another realm and all kind of crazy shit. We just did the ads, and then you're about to have... okay, you just saw what happened here on the video. I'm going to link this video again, just in case people possibly want to be watching along. But as you can see, we're going to back this up. Now, this is one thing you guys don't want to make the mistake of doing. I get to the prison too early, okay? It's like one of those things you're punished for being too quick at something, Adele status. But if anybody knows what the reference is there, I'll give you a high five. I don't think many people will get that one though. But anyways, I roll into the prison to try and get to the mark, but you see here it knocks me back, and I think I actually get pride from that. Let me check. Yeah, I think I get 5 pride from being there, too close. So that's something you don't want to do. So just, let my mistake there be your learning experience. If you're ever one of the people that are breaking people out of the prisons, you want to wait until it's formed, and then you deal with it, all right? So, Swelling Pride just went out again. As you see here, I was at 20. Yeah, so nothing happened to me, but it put me at 25. Okay, so but as you can see, back it up here again. Um, the person that was out there with me, I think it's Soy. Uh, the you can see that. Okay, this is the little void zone that spawns if you're at 25 to 49. That's this right here that I'm moving my mouse cursor over. This is what the void zone is. Okay, um, that's what you have to move away from. All right, so then we're gonna get further into it here. So it's we're not gonna go through the fight like every little bit in detail, but you guys get the picture. The ads spawn. You do that shit, and oh shit, hang on. Hit the wrong button. Okay. You see the Gift of the Titans goes out again. They get together. Watch the debuff swap up here. They're going to get the power buff. Break the prison out. Okay, we're going to fast forward here. I want to get you guys to the point to where I have a more energy, so I want you to see what it looks like. You see, okay, look, I'll pause it here again. Look at how many reflections are going out here. You guys remember there was only like 4 or 5 at the beginning. Now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like 12. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move it up here. Imprison. Break them out. The ad is okay. So he's about to cast Swelling Pride again. Now, what I'm showing, I went to this part of the video so you guys can see this. Okay. Swelling Pride. Once it happens, I want you to see. Okay, right here. I'm hit with 50. Oh my God. Do you guys see? I'm gonna back it up. Okay. Motherfucker. Hang on. Okay. Thank you. All right. This puddle here on the ground has a green arrow in it. I was trying to get a good angle here, but YouTube's not cooperating. Okay. This, you have to stand in it. And if you do not stand in this, you will cause the entire raid to take damage. Okay. Which is obviously a bad thing. So you're going to see me here. I'm like, oh shit. There's my puddle that I have to stand in. Let me go stand in this. I mean, you have a decent amount of time. It's not like you have to instantly go there and stand there. You have enough time. It may actually depend on how far it is away from the boss. I don't know that. So, like, mine was kind of far out, so I didn't have to be in it immediately. But maybe if you have one that's kind of close. Now, again, about that ability, you need to know that it's not always going to be right next to your character. There have been times where, let's say that I'm right here, that thing spawns, like, down here or something. You know what I mean? It's like it might not necessarily be in your field of view, but you have to know that it's there. Like if you are at 50 to 74 energy, it is imperative that every time Swelling Pride happens, you look and find that green arrow and go soak it. You know what I mean? Like it's not like, oh, I don't see it, I'm good. Fuck it, we're on the boss. You know what I mean? It's always around where you were. I don't know the radius of what it will. I would say like probably like 20 yards. It's going to be somewhere in like a 20-yard radius of your character, I would guess. But I don't know the exact I've never seen one be on the opposite side of the room. I'll put it to you that way. So you see here I have all these ads down here. I think we're probably actually about to be phase changing the boss here. You see they get AoE down pretty heavy. Okay, so I think he actually phase changed. Yeah, okay, here he goes. You see him casting Unleashed. Okay, what's happening here is he's resetting everyone's pride. So you see here, I only made it to 60 pride throughout that whole time. So like on normal, it's very forgiving. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty sure we didn't have optimum tank swaps, and again, we're just kind of figuring out the fight. And I was definitely one of the closest people to that ad when it blew up at times because I'm one of the ones killing it. And the Imprison, you guys saw me mess that up and things like that. So there are definitely things that I could have done better, but what I'm getting at is even with those mistakes, I'm only at 60 pride. So if you're hitting, the part where you're AoEing the raid early on, you're doing something wrong, okay? So we're going to hit play here. Everybody's shit gets reset when he goes into Unleashed. So that happens. And the fight continues as normal, by the way. So like when that happens, all the stuff still keeps going on. The ads keep spawning. The Imprison keeps happening. We're going to just let this play out here. But, yeah. and right now what's happening is the raid damage is ramping up. Okay, we're gonna go back here and show you guys this in the dungeon journal again. This is the unleashed when he reaches 30% health. Blah blah blah. He resets all of the, um, resets everyone's, uh, the nourishing NPC. He resets everyone's. Oh my god, I'm wanting to say sanity, and it's like right in front of me. Pride. Oh my god, I'm horrible with names. Resets everyone's pride meter, and basically what happens is every 10 seconds you take you're taking raid damage like AOE. So, um, yeah, it's like there's only so much you're going to be able to keep up with at that point. That's why I said it's kind of like you're killing him before he kills you at this point. So, in a perfect world, this is when you would be lusting. This is when you would have cooldowns saved for and things like that because it's very, imperative that you get this phase over with, sooner than later. You see the imprisons are still going. One thing to note about the imprison, actually, before I forget. Okay, now you see what happens here in the imprison is if the man, my dog's going crazy, but if you get to the imprison too early and like one of the people move off of it, then it will deactivate. So like if say Absalom, if he moves, there's like a slight grace period. Like if he had moved off of that and then I moved onto it, it won't be, it won't register. What I'm getting is you have to be on it relatively at the same time. There's like a 1 to 2 second grace period, but yeah, that's just another thing to note, like as far as how that works, especially if you're going to be one of the people that's assigned to breaking people out of the prisons. And you see the ad spawning, blah blah blah. Now one thing about this phase, it doesn't what was it getting at? I don't remember. But anyways, the swelling pride is also happening. So during this phase, you're going to want a raid cooldown because you got to think that 10-second AoE that's going on from time to time on top of the swelling pride you see here obviously can, stack up for some super, you know, damage burst from the boss. But, that's that. Boss is getting burned down pretty easy. 10-man normal, it's not going to be that rough. I'm sure on Heroic this is going to be tuned, pretty demanding to the point to where it gets pretty brutal. But that's that fight overall. If anybody has any questions, um, about this fight, go ahead and post them in chat, and I'll go ahead and answer them if I can. Now again, the changes on heroic are the things you have to click on the ground, and then the Pac-Man stage. But it's a pretty fun fight overall. But that is the 10-man normal version of the encounter. Okay, but again, if you guys have questions about that, put them in chat. The next fight we're going to be going over is Iron Juggernaut. Okay, I actually had wanted, the first week I wanted to do 4 bosses. And I only ended up doing 3, and this week I wanted to do 3, but I think I'm only going to, I would rather, the thing is, guys, I would rather be going in depth on these to the point where I'm going over as much as I can about each fight, rather than just trying to cram in multiple during the hour time block. You know what I mean? So, I apologize if you guys are wanting more bosses covered, but I would, I'm going to go over all of them, but I'm just going to be going over them more thorough than just, blazing through them. So, the next one we're going to be going over, actually, let me see if we kill it on this pull, by the way. And then we end up wiping it just to get more people in, yeah. So, we're going to be going over Iron Juggernaut next. Let's see. You got here a little late. Can you explain reflections? Sure. Just real quick. Again, this is on a VOD, though, if you guys want to go back. The reflections is just something that the boss does periodically. And what it does is, depending on your sanity level, you spawn more of them. And you want to treat it kind of like water spout on Shafir. Like you want to be moving as it's spawning because it spawns little puddles underneath you. And if you take damage from the puddles or whatever, it gives you extra pride. So, at the beginning of the fight, you have very limited amount of reflections, but by the end of the fight, you have a lot more. Okay. Um, let's see. Um, next one. So we were going over was Iron Juggernaut. Okay, let me find this one. Okay, here we go. And here I'm gonna link this. I'm gonna link this video for you guys if you guys want to follow along, and we're gonna browse through the dungeon journal about this one too. Okay, this is again, we did not test the first three bosses already uploaded on YouTube. If you guys want to check that out, walkthroughs, baseline walkthroughs. We just went over Shaw Pride. Galacrest or whatever was not active on the PTR when they haven't tested that one yet. Right now we're going to be going over Iron Juggernaut. Okay. Now the way this fight works, it's a two-phase fight. All right. You have assault mode and you have siege mode. Okay. Now in assault mode, it's like you're tanking the boss. He's doing his thing. Blah blah. The bore drill. This is the one that it's basically like a earthquake thing. 75k physical damage, things like that. Laser burn. Um, just another targeted raid mechanic. I'm trying to think. What's the crawler mines? That's what I'm going for. That's a very key part to this fight. I'm gonna get to that in a second though. But yeah, mortar cannon. Basically, this fight is very straightforward as far as mechanic works. It's like you get the laser beam, don't stand in the fire. You get the mortar cannon targeted on you, move out of it. You know what I mean? The bore drill, don't stand in the earthquake effect thing. Okay. Crawler mines though. This is the number one part of like probably I mean the main thing people are going to be messing up on this encounter. Okay, on normal or any mode, normal or heroic. Okay. Now the way this works is the mine spawns and they detonate and deal a lot of damage to everyone in the raid. But you can have someone specifically detonate it and it doesn't deal damage to the raid, but that person takes 1.2 million damage. And remember, that's a 10-man normal value, okay? And then outside of that, you got the tank buff, tank debuff rather. Flame vents is basically forcing a tank swap and things like that. So that's phase one. It's pretty straightforward. It's got a lot of health. It's going to be a burn fight. Limited mechanics for the range to move around. It's just enough stuff to keep you from standing in one spot. But the key to phase one is dealing with the mines. And you'll be able to see that from the video. Okay, and then once you're done with that phase, he goes into siege mode. Now what happens in siege mode is he basically starts dealing massive raid damage to the entire raid constantly through the phase. Okay. There is no longer a tank on the boss at that point in time. By the way, how many viewers are we at? My viewer count's messed up. I'm just curious how many people are actually, getting to watch this stuff and learning from it out of curiosity. But anyways, we'll keep it moving here. Somebody just type that in stream chat when you can. Um, the Okay, cool. And again, man, I'm telling you guys, this is like premium info for people who did not get the PTR tests, man. Like, so if your guild wants to learn how to, do these encounters and didn't get to get on there, tell them to hop in here. Or if they're not able to hop in here right now, you have them watch the VOD that's uploaded on my YouTube. I'm doing this shit to educate people. You know what I mean? Like I said, I would do some of this stuff, every Sunday, as long as the subscribers were keeping up on the stream, I would hop on here and be helping out people that wanted to get better at the game. So don't take this stuff for advantage, guys. Like, if you guys know people or know someone's guild who needs the information on these bosses, have them hop in here or watch the VOD. All right. But anyways, moving on. Shock Pulse, just went over that. Oh no, I just went over the size of the activity. That's raid damage and things like that. Shock Pulse, you'll see this. This is like a huge knockback, okay? So it knocks everybody back in that phase pretty consistently. It gets pretty annoying. Demolisher Cannon, just saying don't stand in it, blah, blah, blah. Laser. Same thing as phase one, don't stand in it. Yeah, just make sure. And then the tar, this is just something like if the laser... You want to kite the laser away from the tar, okay? So, you don't, if it ignites the tar, it deals damage to the whole raid. So, like, as far as mechanic, this fight, it's not like that mechanically demanding, but it gets a little crazy with some of the mechanics it does have. No, it may seem a little straightforward just watching or just reading through the dungeon, but it'll make a lot more sense when you guys are able to see it here in the video. All right. So one thing about this boss, we had very I think the server actually crashed or something, so we barely got any pulls in on this. What's new, right? U.S. server crashing on PTR, pretty common occurrence. But he's here. We're gonna pull. It's a huge scorpion-looking boss. He looks pretty badass. Pull him over to the side. He does a cone, so you gotta make sure to spin him so it's not hitting the raid, the fire breath thing you see here that's gonna happen. There's the fire breath of the taint debuff. I think we were switching it every 3 stacks or something like that. Um, so anyways, I'm gonna show you guys here. Remember, the number one thing, like if you guys are like, what's the part of this fight that people are gonna screw up and cause us to wipe? It's gonna be the mines, and you'll see why. All right. So what happens here? I think I take the first 2 debuffs from the flame breath. There's a second one. Then I think other tank taunts. Oh no, wait, maybe I take 3. Oh, by the way, there's the what's the name of this ability? You see the spike shooting up out of the ground. Yeah, bore drill. That's what that is. Basically 75,000 physical damage if you get caught in the effect. So that's what that looks like. So we're gonna go back to the video. This shit over here on the side and in front, don't stand in it. Pretty straightforward, right? Yep. Okay, 3 stacks. We're swapping at 3. So you see Abs is gonna taunt here. Now here are the mines, okay? Now I cannot stress this enough, gentlemen and ladies, if we have any watching, okay? The mines that are on the ground, they have a little timer underneath them, okay? Now, when the timer expires, the little circle will, when it depletes, that means that it's going to explode, all right? Oh, by the way, here are the mortar cannons. Yeah, that. I'm horrible with names, so bear with me here. Okay. Um, Here, this is the bore cannons that you just avoid. It's very straightforward. Red thing on the ground, move out of it. Don't be an idiot. But anyways, back to the mines. Remember, 1.2 million damage per soak. And I put it to you this way. To soak all 3 of them, if you're having one person soak all 3, the way that we were doing it, we were having the off tank soak them. Okay, as you can see here, you right click or you click on it like I don't know if you guys ever did the planting in the. Man, look at that. Pause it right at the exact moment. If you ever did the planting on your little farmer's marketplace, uh, it gives you the little mount option thing, or whatever you want to call that, the boarding or whatnot. So you click this, then you hop on it, then it explodes, okay? So for the first one, I think I just have a blood shield. It's physical damage, if I remember correctly. Hang on. Yes, it is physical damage. Make sure I'm not telling you guys the wrong thing. All right. So you right click on this and you'll see here I've got a blood shield. I'm pretty sure at the moment. Let me look here. I should have a blood shield. I actually probably don't. I don't see the buff on me at the moment. So this is it's not killing me either way. But in a perfect world, especially on a death knight, you're gonna want a blood shield because there's no reason not. Like I should have hit the boss running over to it. Okay. Anyways, you see it blows up. No big deal. I only take marginal damage because I'm a tank. It knocks me into the air, okay? And from here, I'm going to go over to the other one, all right? I just make sure that I'm topped off, what have you. I have bone shield up still, so that's 20% I'm taking down and whatnot. But I'm going to eat both of these before they blow up. Now, again, when these do blow up, it's basically going to hurt the entire raid, so you want to make sure that you soak all of them. All right, so that's that. We've soaked all 3. Avoid the shit on the ground. The other tank is taking his debuffs or whatever. He's at 2 right now. There's the third one. Or no, that was the second one. Okay, so whenever he takes the third one, there's the seismic activity shit again. Avoid that. Okay, there's the mortar for the ranged. Avoid that. There's the seismic, or the, okay. So it times out pretty well. Every 3 stacks, the crawler mines comes out. The tanks swap now. Absalom is going to go and soak the crawler mines at this point. So you see him going out there. And then this is phase 1. It's kind of like rinse and repeat. You get through phase 1. And then, again, the crawler mines are the key. All right. So we're going to fast forward here. And you see me popping another crawler mine. Go to another one. I'm a tank. I don't give a fuck. I just run through the red shit on the ground. All right. Um, so that's that. That's phase one. Now I'm gonna go for. Okay, so he's about to hit 100 energy. I think that's when he phase changes. We'll see here. Um. Okay, so here he hits 100 energy. Now he is going into siege mode. All right. So now we're gonna just make sure everybody's on the same page here. There is no longer a tank in this phase. All right. So what's happening now is everybody's taking raid damage consistently throughout the fight. All right. Throughout the phase rather. And think of it like, I don't know if you guys remember XT Deconstructor in Ulduar, but when he did his Earth Stomp thing, on the ground, boom, 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 or whatever, it's very similar. Okay, at least this is not like percent health. I think that the XT one was percent health based because I know I go back in there now and it still does a lot of damage to me. So I'm pretty sure that one's percent, but this is not percent based. So, anyways, as you see here, okay, the key to this phase, he's going to be putting tar out. You see here, it's getting shot out in the, um, it's shot out in the floor, but the shock pulse. Now this is a very annoying mechanic because it knocks you back, 100 yards or some crazy shit. But you have to basically position yourself to where you're getting knocked into some of the terrain in the room to minimize the distance that you're getting knocked back. All right, so you see here, I'm going to get knocked back. I try to get knocked back into this little catapult thing. You see the tar on the ground, and this is continuing to happen. Okay, I get targeted with a laser. He still does the mines in this phase, okay? I'm pretty sure actually watching this video, I never even noticed I got targeted by the laser. So it's going to be pretty funny if it ends up hitting something I never even knew that happened. But this here, cutter laser on me. So I want to avoid running that over the tar, but I didn't even know it was on me. I just noticed that for the first time watching this video. So I'm going straight for the mines because the mines still have to get blown up because all the other raid damage is going on in this phase. And then you got to make sure the mines aren't blowing up hitting the raid. So that's what I'm doing right now. This time I do have a blood shield. So this one should do marginal damage, if any, minimal damage. All right, so I got not. Oh man, talk about bad timing. Okay, it's actually good this happened because you guys can see how it works out. All right, so the what I basically should have been quicker. You have to pretty much already be on the mine. So like by not clicking the mine, I'm getting knocked back out of range of these by the shock pulse. You see the distance that it knocks me back to. So I'm glad this happened, even though it's not supposed to happen. It's allowing you guys to see what can happen if you mess it up. Okay, so you see here, I'm going to click on it. Didn't click on it in time, so I'm like, oh shit, these are gonna blow up. Absalom makes it to one. I make it to one, and I think somebody else got the other one with probably a heavy personal or something like that. As you can see here, actually no, that laser is not on me. It's on someone else. It's just saying that it's on me for some reason. Probably because I was the last person that had aggro on the boss going into the phase or something. Who knows? But anyways, um, don't kite those over the tar. The tar slows you. Blah, blah. I think the tar slows you. Let me check actually. Does the tar slow you? I think it does. Yeah, 30% slow. I wanted to make sure on that before I told you guys. Alright, so there's a knockback again. As you can see here, nice little trick. I instantly engineering cloak after the knockback. So I'm like in melee range still. Another reason engineering is superior. Alright, so mines are back out. He's about to phase change again. As you see, he's about to be back to his 0 energy. I actually shield wall here because I know I'm going to have to pop mines back to back and I'm going to be picking up the boss. So I actually shield walled that point. Alright. We had 2 people die in that phase. So, I mean, like, that's definitely the most healing intensive part of the fight. Alright. Sending the tar does not negate the knockback. No. Okay, so again, that frontal cone, you want to avoid it. The seismic activity. So, but I mean, that's pretty much how this fight is designed. Like, you avoid the bad stuff. It's very straightforward. There's not a lot to interact with on this fight other than the mines, and even then, that's only select people. It's just on tanks keeping the boss position well, tanks dealing with the mines well, and things like that. This is probably more of a, you know, demand on tanking than any of the other roles specifically. I actually no, probably more of a demand on healers for this fight than anything. I guess you could even make the argument it's more of a demand on the DPS if the enrage timer's tight enough because this guy has an enormous health pool, man. Like it's you see here we went back and forth. This is the second or the yeah, this is the second phase one already, alright? And you see us bouncing around between tank swaps and then blowing mines up and things like that, but the boss is only at fucking 55%, and I mean, it's been several minutes already in a 10-man normal. Now, while it's not an absurd amount of HP, it's definitely higher than your average Joe, you know what I mean? So, but, there's nothing super fancy. The boss, he doesn't go, Megatron mode and turn into some crazy stuff or something like that. But that's that fight in a nutshell. All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead and watch. I'm gonna let you guys watch one more phase change, and then we'll go into questions at that point. Okay. So again, watching his energy bar lets you know when he's phase changing between the two phases. Oh, by the way, for anybody that's tanking this fight, you need to know right now that that flame breath does a lot of damage. Like, respect the flame breath because it is like, it will definitely kill you. I know when I was in here on my monk, it was rough. Like, I actually died to the flame breath a couple times on my monk because of how much burst damage it was. The modifier on it actually is for the debuff the tanks get. Let me find it. Flame vents. It's 10% for every debuff that you have on you. So it's going to be dealing 20% additional damage by the time you're taking the third one before you swap. So that's just something to know, okay? No, Galcrast was never tested. So anyways, here he goes. He's going into the ground phase again. Now you see what happens again. You want to position yourself. You know the knockback is coming, right? But you don't want to position yourself into too much of a pigeonholed spot because of the tar and the laser and shit like that. So it's all about positioning or whatnot. So what's going to happen here? You know the knockback's coming. I'm basically picking a short spot right now because, I want the knockback to... Okay, actually, even better. Right now, I was kind of positioning over here because I thought the knockback was going to come earlier, but I see I have enough time to make it to this mine. Now, what I'm going to try to do here is time it to where when I click the mine, I'm up in the air when the knockback is happening, so I don't get knocked back. I'm not sure if I actually do it here or not. Okay, it does. Okay, you see everybody else got knocked back, but I didn't because I was in the air from clicking the bomb. So it's just a little neat little trick that can happen. Again, I picked the short wall here. Now you can't like it knocks you. It's like it doesn't knock you just straight back. It's an angle based off of where the boss is facing. Okay, you see, I use engineering glider to get to the next one. It's kind of a sloppy attempt at it, but whatever. All right, you see the tar all over the room and things like that. Yeah, mages can probably blink it. I'm not sure if Ataxis is in there. I'm sure he could answer you or something like that. So that's that fight in an overview. Let me real quick. I'm actually curious what changes on this boss on heroic. Ricochet, not in there yet, and mortar barrage. Rapidly fires mortar. Okay, that's wonderful. All right, so it's not there's enough raid damage and stuff going on in that other phase. Now he's going to rapidly do the mortar barrage at the same time. So that's cool. And then obviously this other mechanic as well, but it's not in the journal yet. So we're on the Anasterian or whatever on PTR. Illidan on live. But yeah, guys. I mean that's the fight. So this is the second. We went through 2 phases of each. And that put the boss is still at 40%. You know what I mean? So like, right now we're dealing with probably like. Actually, this video it tells everything. How often? Okay, we pull the boss at 18 seconds. The boss is already pulled, and the boss is still alive at. For a 10-man normal fight, that's like middle of the tier. The boss doesn't die until. So this is almost an 11-minute fight. And granted, we actually had a DPS dead, so looking at around 10 minutes or whatever. But yeah, I mean, like, it is a very, very long encounter for 10 man. So it's kind of like I don't know, it depends. Maybe the HP values were bumped up on PTR higher than what they were supposed to be. But, either way it goes, it had a lot of HP, and it was a pain in the ass to, like, chew through that much health. But, you know, cool fight nonetheless. I mean, who doesn't enjoy fighting a huge mechanical scorpion that could easily, find its way into a Michael Bay Transformer film? But you share the shock pulse. I actually tried to put myself on the corner of that gate and fucked it up, and then got knocked back, and I have to rocket boot back into position. But we're actually going to kill it here because I think they ended testing, so we decided to go ahead and kill it. And that's that. You see him blow up, and um, he's just in the ground. He's still doing the pulse and things and whatnot. But that is that, man. Like, as far as that fight goes, and we went over that, and we went over Shaw Pride. So, just kind of hopping back to the other stuff. Do any of you, if any of you guys have questions about any of the fights, Shaw of Fear, or the one that we just went over, which is Iron Juggernaut. If you guys have any questions about those, you can go ahead and throw them in chat, and I'll answer what I can before we wrap it up. But the last 7 minutes or whatnot. Hopefully you guys were able to learn something. I know some of the people don't have the opportunity to be on the PTR and stuff like that super early in the day whenever they're testing them. But this is good intel, especially for people that weren't able to do that. Okay. Like the Horadon of the tier, I don't know. I wouldn't compare that fight to Horadon because Horadon had a lot of ads. Looks like you're only snagging 2 of 3 mines at most. Did you have a DPS to assign that? We just, there's multiple ways you can do it. You can actually have it, you can actually design it to where you have DPS with personal soak them. Let's say you have like a Shadow Priest user disperse or something to soak the mine, or you could have one of the mines hit. That's what I was getting at. So like the damage in that phase is, you're able to eat that damage. It's not gonna, instantly wipe you or anything like that. But you want to avoid having more than one hit. That's for sure. So the tank can easily do 2 of them, but depending, you can actually even do 3. It's just if you have people with like strong personals that can do it, what's the point of making the tank? It's just easier. That's the best way I can put it. It's doable with having the tank do all 3. I'm not saying it's not, but it's easier just to have the tank get its 2, and then somebody with a strong personal get the other one. Or you could even have it blow up and things like that. So everyone has to click on the mines that spawn or we get knocked back. No, the mines don't knock back. That's not what's doing the knockback. The knockback is the shock pulse in the second phase. The mines just do raid damage or individual damage if you're having somebody soak them. Okay. Well, you guys can't hear me. Test. The sound's going out or something. Okay, I don't know. Maybe that guy's sound messed up on his computer, but it's still working. All right, good. But all in all, that's a very straightforward fight. I mean, if anything, just to recap the Shaw of Pride. I know some people weren't in for that, but you guys need to make sure that you are, again, I can't stress this enough, and I do it because I know how much it matters to some people, man. Like, if you guys know people that need to learn this fight or these PTR fights, we went over on the first, last week we went over Immersius, Protectors of, what's the name of this fight? The Fallen Protectors, and then Neuroshin, and then this week we went over Shaw Pride and Iron Juggernaut. So, we're getting to the halfway point of, going over all the fights, so they're good to go as far as, if you guys want to learn the fights or just, maybe catch something that you missed during testing, or things like that, or say if you're in a guild like Emily's guild that struggles with content, or things like that, things like this, you guys seeing people that are doing it successfully, you'll be able to learn something. But, yeah, hopefully you guys learned something. I do these every Sunday. Uh, Make sure you guys do me a favor, and if you guys want to help me out, I mean, this is what I'm doing full time now, full time rating and streaming. So, you know, if you can subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. But more than anything, just the free stuff, man. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I upload these to YouTube for you guys to watch, and the main goal of these is to be able to teach you guys about the encounters, and then whenever we're doing it on progression, we'll have the kill vids out as soon as possible, and those are going to be on YouTube or yeah, I'll have the progression kills on my YouTube as well as the Blood Legion YouTube. And we have different POVs like Zoomkins if you guys want to check out a Moonkin POV, Affinity, a healer POV, Absalom, another tank POV. We got a lot of different people that do, their POVs, so we kind of got whatever you guys want to watch, and things like that. And I know people are asking for the special guest stuff. Right now, I'm pretty focused on getting all this PTR stuff out, like as far as information on each of the fights, because I know there's been a lot of like, okay, thanks, that really helped me out. My guild wasn't able to test it and things like that, so that's why I'm kind of focusing on the PTR stuff. But if it gets to the point where we're done with the PTR stuff and we're still, as long as we still have the subscriber Sunday things, I have no problem doing some more special guest interviews and getting people on here and just letting you guys get to know them and things like that. So, but all in all, we're going to. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wrap the show up right now. I want to thank everybody for watching. If you guys are new to the stream, please do me a favor, hit that follow button. Same thing with Twitter and YouTube and Facebook. All the links are below, and if you guys want to donate or subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. But all in all, thanks for watching. I'll have this uploaded to YouTube again, so you can watch it later if you miss any of the Shaw Pride stuff or any of that, or if you just want to link it to a friend, okay? 5.4, probably a month or two out. Let's see. And do I stream BL raids? Yes, I do. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. BL main raids are streamed. Do we stream progression? No. If any of you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter. I do my best to answer all those questions I can. But definitely thanks for watching. Pretty thorough walkthroughs of those two bosses today. I know last week we went over 3, so they're a little bit quicker pace. But I feel like we covered every element of the two bosses today. So thanks again for watching. I'm going to go chill out, probably play some Dota with some of the guys in the guild. But thanks again, man. I really appreciate you guys showing up every week. You guys are awesome. Later. Good talk.